from coast to coast. We've got two hosts to host. Welcome to another episode of the Fivecast Podcast. We're here to break down and examine intricately prepared top 5 lists for your enjoyment from the Sentinel Tower in parts unknown. I'm your host, Tyler, and from Second Floor Studios in Los Angeles, California, it's my buddy, Ben Pearson. How you doing, Ben?
What's going on, Tyler?
Do you feel things creeping in the night? Do you feel like you should put a cape on yourself and walk, maybe even hop the streets trying to solve crimes?
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Ooh, that's... Oh my God, Ben, that's the same thing that guy said before he killed my parents. Hold on. That's the story in Batman, right?
Yeah.
And the Joker turns out to be the same guy that killed Batman's parents?
Yeah, the Joker is Joe Chill in Tim Burton's
Joke
movie.
Chill, maybe? Also, I guess like all the villains were operating while Bruce Wayne was a child. That's pretty cool, right?
According to Gotham.
A la Gotham.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of when Batman officially becomes an adult and becomes Batman, like all the villains are just elderly gentlemen and women. And it's like, what? It doesn't make any sense. It's like Smallville, like seasons 5 and later.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, I'm the Flash, and I've been operating for years, and I'm 8 years old. And it's like, hold on.
And he's not even Superman yet.
Yeah. It's like, wait, all these other heroes exist. It's Superman's the one that sets the trend.
Right.
Anyway, we're doing top 5 worst Batman villains this week. I'm sure you already know from the title. Ben, do you really like Batman?
I kind of do like Batman.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if I would say I really like him. He's like... I like him as much as I like any comic book character. Let's put it that way.
Wow, you're equalizing all of them?
As much as I like any one, I think Batman is up there. Like,
okay.
I don't love the character, but I like the character a lot. I've seen all the movies. I appreciate the character's relevance in pop culture. I'm not like a Batman aficionado in the same way that like friend of the show Taryn Jared Blanchard is.
Yeah.
Who knows like every intricate in and out detail of Batman's publishing history and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah,
Bob Kane.
I like Batman.
People are arguing that Bob Kane gets all the credit for Batman, but there's like another guy, maybe the artist,
Bill Finger, man,
and the guy who came up with like Alfred and the Batmobile, and like the guy who wrote
and the Joker.
Yeah, the guy who wrote the stories like after Bob Kane left. And in all the movies, like created by Bob Kane, like man, whatever contract Kane signed was the right contract.
Yeah, and I think DC has remedied that. I think last year they sort of gave Bill Finger his due, and finally, I think actually in the upcoming Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, I think it's gonna say something like Batman, the character of Batman created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
What do you think Bill's go-to move in the bedroom is?
All right, let's move on.
Top 5 worst. Oh, by the way, Batman Forever is the best Batman movie. Top 5 worst Batman villains. Ben, number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Crazy Quilt.
Crazy Quilt.
Have you heard of this guy?
I have not heard or seen this guy.
Paul Decker, an ex-painter,
okay,
who led a double life as a master thief, blinded by a gunshot wound during a robbery that went bad.
Blinded by a gunshot wound.
Yeah, blinded. In prison, he volunteered for a procedure that he thought would restore his vision, but that actually just made him only see disorienting colors, and that's it. So it drove him insane, and he adopted the identity of Crazy Quilt. So I don't really know what this guy does. I guess he has like a mind control helmet that he acquires at some point, but it just seems like this guy is just staggering around left and right, seeing vivid, blinding colors at all times, which seems like he would be pretty bad at his job, his villainous job of robbing places or whatever he's trying to do. So, coming into my number 5, Crazy Quilt.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, Bob. What you got?
I'm sorry I'm late for work, buddy. I had some wicked mushrooms last night, and all I could see are demented, warped colors, man. But
seeing spots there,
I'm
Bob.
seeing spots. I'm seeing squares. I'm seeing rectangles, rhombuses. seeing all kinds of
Sounds
crazy
like-
stuff, and
Sounds like my mother-in-law's quilt there.
the boss is riding our ass. Hey, you guys are finally on Batman. Yeah, a dream come true. I'm walking in the footsteps of Mr. Sir Duke Bob Kane.
Don't forget about Bill Finger.
Bill Finger, sure, whatever. He says, create villains. We need new villains for Batman. I can't think right now. I'm seeing quilt colors. I don't know why quilts are part of the equation, but that's exactly what I'm seeing.
Bob, let me run this by you real quick. What if we just
Brooklyn
what if
Bob.
we take your quilt idea and just turn that into a villain? What about it?
You're talking
Crazy
like
quilt.
Crazy Quilt?
Crazy quilt.
Let me grab a pen. It's going to take me a while, though, but let me grab a pen.
All you gotta do, just write down those colors. That's all he sees. Maybe mind control helmet, but we don't even have to worry about that.
I think this is the sign of a color for friendship. The beginning of a color for friendship. Did I get that line right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's good. That's great.
My number 5, Ben.
Yes.
This villain first appeared in Detective Comics number 529. Hey, DC.
Okay.
Why do you stop rebooting classic titles? You could be on Detective Comics like, I don't know, 999 by now. It'd
Probably.
be awesome. But Detective Comics number 529, August of 1983. We got Nocturna, Ben. Nocturna.
Okay.
Now, Natalia Knight, which makes some sense, is a thief. Get
Is
it,
that
Ben?
K-N-I-G-H-T?
Yeah.
or-
But
okay.
also Knight.
Okay.
She's a thief and a manipulator whose skin was bleached pale white by an experimental laser. Now, it does not go into detail on whether this was voluntary, if she was like, hey, yeah, hit me with that laser. But it definitely did bleach her skin pale white. And so she is sensitive to light now, which makes sense. And so she prefers to operate in darkness. Now, this is probably one of the worst villains I've ever heard of because all villains operate at night. There's nothing really that special about her except for that whole laser experiment thing. I don't think she has any superpowers. It just lists
She's
her,
just really pale.
yeah, they just list her as a thief and a manipulator. So I don't know if she's manipulating her like her friends or family, or if she's like a progressive liar or compulsive liar or whatever. So I don't think she's a very successful villain, nor very talented. And I hate her name. If you're going to operate at night, call yourself Knight, not Knight of the Round Table. Like Natalia Knight, 2 N's, then you go by Nocturna. Now it makes sense. Because if we know anything from 50s, 60s comics, or 40s too, always go with the double letter first and last name.
Oh, yeah, that alliteration.
You've got Lois Lane, you've got Lana Lang, you've got Lex Luthor.
Got the gay ghost.
Gay Ghost. Oh, man, the Gay Ghost. So great. The great Gay Ghost. So yeah, Nocturna is probably one of the worst Batman villains. I don't even know if they've ever met up. He was just like, oh, what is she doing out here at night? She's probably manipulating. And then he just like kicks her in the face or something and just arrests her immediately.
And then she tries to manipulate her parents into giving her like $10 or something.
Like a bank loan, yeah.
Buy lunch the next day.
But I think she is unlockable in Arkham Knight, so check her out.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not really. Ben, not a very good villain, but they're going to get worse. Let's do your number 4.
My number 4 is the only female on this list, Magpie, a jewel thief who specifically targets jewels named after birds and then replaces them with booby-trapped replicas.
Oh, wow.
So that seems really, really detailed and oddly specific.
Yeah.
A lot of these Batman villains are just like, psychotic to such a specific degree of having these like almost fetishes for things that are so on point that nobody else would even consider them, and they like feel like they must be masters at this one tiny area that no one else had even ever thought of before, but they're like, I'm gonna rule this, I'm gonna do this person, I'm gonna do this. So
they'll never see it coming.
Her code name is obviously comes from a magpie, which in folklore is attracted to bright, shiny objects. So the thing about her that makes her really terrible is she took a job as the curator of a museum and was driven insane because she's surrounded by the beautiful things that she loves but can never own.
Right.
So it's like, man up, grow a pair. Like, don't take that job if you
Yeah.
know that you're gonna have trouble. It's like
Yeah,
like
work at
me.
a Sbarro or something where you
Yeah,
can get the
that's
pizza at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was just gonna make
Oh, okay, sorry.
that metaphor. I was just gonna say that's like me, loving hamburgers, but like actively choosing to work at Five Guys.
But
Burgers
that
and
makes
Fries.
sense because you could have a hamburger.
Right? But then withholding, but then never actually eating any and just being
Right.
like, bathed in the smells of the place and being like going crazy because of that. So,
Sure. That makes sense.
anyway, yeah, she's really really terrible. Although I guess Superman and Batman did team up to take her down.
Wow.
I'm sure that was incidental in
Yeah.
whatever else they were doing at
He
the
was
moment.
just kind of around at the time.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that they would be like, well, Superman, you gotta come to Gotham and help me get Magpie.
Do we have to punch her at the same time to defeat her?
Yeah, so that seems it seems pretty crazy. So
By the way, Zack Snyder, I got a lot on my chest, Ben. Batman and Superman, hey, they're best friends, guy. They're best friends.
Maybe they
end of
become-
rant. End of
Maybe they
rant.
become best friends.
I doubt it. I doubt. After Superman has to snap the neck of Wonder Woman at the very end of this movie, you think they're gonna like shake hands and laugh?
Maybe. Yeah.
Got her.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a whole Justice League movie coming right after that.
How
So,
many necks is Superman gonna snap now?
That's
now
a
that
good question.
now that seal's been broken, that he's like cool with it.
I like the idea that it's a dam that's burst, and that's his only method of doing anything.
Yeah.
He must end all conversations by snapping the neck of who he talks to.
His whole thing is I will not kill, and
It's a compulsion for him.
yeah, now he's got to snap every neck he sees.
All right, so
Like Will Sasso's Steven Seagal in the old Mad TV skits.
yeah.
Magpie sounds pretty awful. She first appeared in The Man of Steel #3 from 1986. I believe that was your old pal John Byrne on the Superman title.
No, I don't know John Byrne, but
Pretty cool run.
sure.
My number 4, Ben, is Ugly American. Made an appearance in Batman Shadow of the Bat #6 from 1992.
This is a name he chose for himself?
Yeah, Ugly American. Not to be confused with a Young American a la David Bowie. Listen to our last episode.
Yep.
But Ugly American is John Kennedy Payne. Ooh, nice name. Should have stuck with that. John Payne.
To the pain.
He was to the pain. Is that Princess Bride?
It is, yeah.
John Payne was brainwashed by the U.S. government, nothing new, to be an assassin with extreme patriotic emotions, Ben. But something went wrong, and he developed a hatred for non-whites, blacks, and foreigners of all shapes and sizes, including French dogs like poodles. His hatred knew no bounds. But his rage came to an end when he was taken out by the same government that brainwashed him because Batman had subdued him. So Ugly American failed in his hatred, his reign of hate that he tried to spread across America. But I also like the idea that he's an assassin, but extremely patriotic. So when he kills somebody, he's like, for America. And then, even though it is an American citizen, he's totally down with murdering them for assassination purposes.
He has someone in his sniper sights,
Yeah.
and he's like muttering to himself, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the pain of the United States of pain. And to the pain for which it pain.
That guy.
One pain under pain.
That guy sounds
With
bad.
pain and pain for all. And then Batman just punches him in the face. And he's only subdued by Batman and then murdered by the government.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's pretty fantastic. Although, it's a pretty shitty power. He's just super patriotic, I want to say. I think that's his only superpower, right?
I think so.
I mean, to go back to Batman, he's not really a superpowered being like Superman.
Right.
So he can, I guess, he can struggle against other non-powered beings like Ugly American. But do you think Batman, other than the Adam West version, do you think Batman's that patriotic? Do you think they were clashing, or do you think Bruce Wayne was like, I kind of agree with you on a few of these points. Like my wages at Wayne Enterprises can't go up because I'm turning a profit. So I'm sorry, non-whites that work at my factory. Your wages aren't going up, even though the ghettos of Gotham are full of starvation and rampant with disease.
Yeah.
Wayne Enterprises refuses to up their low wages.
I mean, I'm sure there have been volumes and volumes written on the conservatism or like economic, consequences of Wayne Enterprises and Batman lore. So
I hope Taron Jared knows a little bit about that.
I bet he might. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have him on sometime. Ben, number 3.
My number 3 is Planet Master, Tyler.
Yes.
This is a
guy
guy named Irving Norbit, Professor Irving Norbit.
Any relation to Norbit of Eddie Murphy fame?
Oh, actually, it looks like it's Norbert. I'm sorry, that was a mispronunciation on my part. So, Professor Irving Norbert, who was exposed to gases of a meteor. It doesn't say how. I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah.
This guy, because of these gases, develops a Jekyll and Hyde-esque life, basically, where the bad guy of his split personalities turns to a life of crime that utilizes the good guy's knowledge of astronomy to concoct weapons based on the 9 planets in our solar system. So how he does that, I don't know. Why he does that,
gas.
I don't know.
Right?
Let me see if I can
Jupiter
find...
torpedo away. Pluto smoke bomb. Enhance.
Yeah, it looks like let's see. It looks
I want to
like
know some of these weapons.
That's what I'm trying to find. It says the first Planet Master uses weapons based on the planets, and that's it. And then, as there often are with these insane villains, even the terrible ones, Tyler, there is a second Planet Master.
Oh, wow.
The second Planet Master could simulate the conditions typical to any of the 9 planets in our solar system.
Now that is
For
cool.
example, he could use the speed of Mercury, the heat of Mars, the strength of Jupiter, the rings of Saturn, and the cold of Pluto. So that character I would not have on this list because it actually sounds kind of badass.
That is really badass. Planet Master 2 is super cool. Not to be confused with his frozen powers, but Planet Master 1.
Just using weapons based on the planets. I am since I can't find any information to the contrary, I'm just going to assume that he takes a handgun, draws a picture of the planet Saturn, and then duct tapes it to the gun, and then just tries to like hold someone up with it.
Well, let's go through all the planets and see what weapons he would use. So for Mercury, obviously he would use like a mercury mud pie,
like a thermometer, maybe.
Oh yeah, that would be better. Yeah, it's super hot there, so a thermometer would make sense. Obviously, Uranus would be farts. I already said Jupiter torpedoes and Pluto smoke bombs. Let's see. Venus would probably be. Oh yeah, Neptune.
Maybe like music, like a tuning fork or something.
Oh, okay, that's good. I like that.
All right,
my tuning fork.
Yeah. He just bangs it in your ear, so you're like, okay, that's a high A. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I got that.
A Saturn table.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So he just tosses a turntable at you.
Mm-hmm. And then Venus. What did you say for that one?
I don't know. Venus flytrap.
Okay, yeah,
like the plant. He just tries to get you. Like
carries one around.
They're just that small though. They're like normal size, and they like maybe bite you and maybe annoy you just a little bit.
Yeah, he puts a quarter on its tongue and hopes that you reach in.
A Mars bar, actually, obviously a Mars bar. There's just the candy bar.
I like that.
For Earth, it would just be like pollution.
Or maybe he just grabs like a handful of dirt and throws it.
Here's some Earth for you. Oh, Planet Master, you're terrible. I think that's all of them, right?
I think so, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it.
The asteroid belt. He just whips off his own belt.
It's not a planet. My favorite planet's the sun. Classic Harry Careyism.
Oh, yeah.
My number 3, Ben, is Johnny Stitches, which is a cool name, but terrible villain.
Okay.
First making an appearance in Gotham Underground, number 3 in 2008. Johnny Donetto was the right-hand man of Tobias Whale, who sounds super awesome too. But after Tobias Whale moved his operations from Metropolis to Gotham, Donetto ran afoul of his boss and had his skin peeled off while being kept alive. Donetto was saved by Bruno Mannheim, sweet name, and his skin was sewn together and reattached by Desaad, who I think is the dark wizard from Apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
And he became Mannheim's contractor in Intergang's bid to take over organized crime in Gotham. So again, not really that great a villain. He doesn't do anything. He's only had that experience of having his skin ripped off and then reattached. So that's the only thing he has going for him, is that he's survived a skin repeal and then a skin appeal. Other than that, he's just like a random criminal.
Wow, okay.
Like, all Batman has to do is like just shake him gently, and I'm sure the electrifying pain will subdue him in only a few seconds.
Yes.
So Johnny Stitches sucks. He is a terrible villain. I don't know how he's got so high in the crime ladder.
Is that his God-given last name, or
no? Johnny Donetto is his real name, but because he had the reattached skin, he's now going by Johnny Stitches.
That's right, Donetto.
Now, he would be much better if he could incapacitate you with his comedy, like if he was a stand-up comedian who turned villain, and he'd leave you in stitches. Like, whoever fucking wrote this guy, come on.
Yeah, they dropped the ball on that one.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, what you got, Bob?
I just got about, we work here late night. We moonlight from all our other jobs.
Yep.
And just got out of a comedy club, buddy. I was left in stitches, boy. And I know the boss is riding our ass. Create villains. Batman villains. More Batman villains, Bob and Phil. You're the only two writers here on Batman. Which we're very lucky. Very lucky.
Wait, Bob.
Hold up, yeah?
You just said you were left in stitches? Is that right?
I was left in stitches, yeah. So I thought maybe we'd have a villain who left people in stitches. Hold up.
What about the Stitcher? What about that?
The Stitcher? Yeah, that sounds good. How about I dumb down my own idea, and instead of having them be a stand-up comedian, just a guy who's had his skin ripped off.
And stitches are applied to his face?
Yeah. Like, he reattaches his skin, and his name's Johnny Stitches.
Johnny Stitches, love it. All right, good.
I'm not going to put any thought into his name. I'm not going to put any thought into a superpower.
Why would you? Let's get down to the bar.
All right. Scene. I love it when by the way, I don't know who those guys are. I love it when they have conversations and all they're trying to do is come up with enough to meet their quota so that they can go and get drunk or play pool or whatever they do. Like, they don't give a shit about their job. Ben, number 2.
My number 2, Tyler, you're going to love this guy.
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth.
Ooh. I love him already.
By far one of the worst Batman villains I've ever seen, Tyler. He commits crimes with a candy motif.
Okay, I'm on board.
He appears to be addicted to eating candy and sweets.
Okay.
You got to look at a picture of him.
Okay, I'm on it.
He wears a purple sweater and a yellow hat. He just looks like a fat sailor.
Okay.
He is clearly overweight. He uses children as henchmen who enjoy his gluttonous need for candy.
Oh boy.
And so this is my favorite.
No.
My favorite thing. So Sweet Tooth's claim to fame is that he changed Gotham's water supply. You know how in Batman Begins the Scarecrow puts like fear chemical into it?
His fear farts.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth changes it into chocolate.
Okay.
And then blackmails the city for $5 million to get it back to normal. And so, like... and then the best part is he doubled the ransom from $5 million to $10 million after Robin made a pun about his weight.
Oh, no.
So he's sensitive
the boy
about
blunder.
Weight. Yeah. So Sweet Tooth always uses candy to either escape or attack Batman and Robin.
Right.
He's got a child army, which is always a really bad
awful.
idea.
That You're towing the line there.
And then Robin infiltrates the child army.
Yeah.
And he's blown. Like the plan is blown.
Right.
So I think he ends up getting trapped in his own taffy with a candy cannon at a certain point, and he tries to order the kids to eat their way out, but the kids are just so stuffed that they just give up and leave him there.
Yeah.
And then Batman takes all the kids to the dentist.
Wow.
And that's it. So does that not sound like the worst Batman storyline?
That's like if a dentist, if DC was like, oh, we got to run a dental health issue.
Yeah, I think that
the dentist coming in like, oh, just a guy who does candy. Can you work with that? Sure, no problem.
Yeah, they're like trying to make that out to be the worst possible thing.
Right.
And yeah, it seems like, you know, like you can tell when companies are trying to be cool and hip, and they just fail miserably. That's what this is like, or would have been like if I read this storyline in a comic when I was, you know, if I was in the 1970s or whatever. Like,
right.
You would be like, this isn't a Batman story. This is a dentist trying to write a Batman story. It would be. It's so obvious that it's garbage that you would just be able to see through it instantly. So Sweet Tooth, really awful.
It's like the dentist is trying to connect with his child patients. It's like, well, haven't I told you the story of when Batman battled old nasty Sweet Tooth?
And they're like, get out of here, man.
Boo, not a real villain. You suck. There's a picture when I typed in Sweet Tooth Batman. There's like a cosplay photo of everyone dressed up as like normal, like run-of-the-mill Batman villains, and then one guy came as Sweet Tooth. I'm like, oh boy, that is great. Ben, my number 2.
Yes.
And we've already talked about him.
Oh,
His name's Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty has transcended the nursery rhyme game and has become a major villain in Gotham City. His real name is Humphrey Dumpler. Which made both Ben and I laugh hysterically. A large, portly, well-mannered. So he's well-mannered, Ben.
A well-mannered villain? Great.
He's obsessed with putting broken things back together. Hold up, even if he has to take them apart. So,
wait, that makes no sense.
Yeah, so if everything's not broken, he's got to break something to put it back together. Which I guess could be like a little OCD.
Yeah, I guess so.
But thinking that his abusive grandmother is broken, Dumpler dismembers her and reassembles her in an attempt to fix her.
That's horrifying.
I guess that's his only crime. I don't know if that was like his first origin story. Like he just woke up one day and was like, you know what, Grandma? I'm Humpty Dumpty, and just rips her apart and then puts her back together. Do you think?
How do you rip a grandma apart and put her back together? This is not a fairy tale.
They're very soft, very soft. I would like to see Humpty Dumpty and Johnny Stitches team up because, if anything, they need each other. Johnny Stitches continuously needs his skin to be reattached, and Humpty Dumpty has to put someone back together. So it's like that symbiotic relationship where Humpty Dumpty's like, hey, like a flab of your skin has fallen off. Can I get that for you? And like his OCD-ness is soothed like for another 24 hours.
Wow.
Of course, appearing in Arkham Asylum, Living Hell #2 from August of 2003. There's a good chance that he might just be an inhabitant of Arkham Asylum and has never come face to face with Batman. Mm-hmm. But I like the idea of like Batman parking the Batmobile, going in to make a bank deposit, coming back out, and the Batmobile being torn apart. And like, Humpty Dumpty! Alfred, coagulate the latest locations of reports of vehicles being disassembled. Right on it, sir.
But I feel like Humpty Dumpty would rip it apart and then he would just like slink back onto the scene and apologize and put it back together again, right?
I'm sorry, sir. And then, like he never even leaves the scene of the crime. It's just
he just hides behind a bush and you can clearly see that he's there.
And then once Batman like runs away angry, he starts putting it back together. I'll show that. I've mildly inconvenienced the Dark Knight.
He'll have to use the bat plane this afternoon.
Yeah.
For his
He is
travels.
large and portly, though, so disassembling takes a lot out of him, so he can't reassemble right away, so there is that time period where he's got to, like, catch his breath.
Right. So that's the inconveniencing
Humpty
part, just
Dumpty.
the timing in between when he takes it apart and puts it back together for you.
He's very unique in his, I don't know, his insanity, but also pretty useless as a supervillain. Like, does he disassemble bank vaults and then put them back together?
Yeah.
Because that's stupid.
Yeah.
All right, Ben,
right
we've made it number one.
My number one, I love this guy. His name is the Hatter.
Okay.
Not to be confused, Tyler, with the
course.
Mad Hatter.
Of course.
So Jervis Tetch is the Mad Hatter, and this is a guy who is insane. He's obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. He dresses like the Mad Hatter from the story. The Hatter, on the other hand, is an imposter Mad Hatter who is actually sane, and he has a mustache. So that's really the only two differences between them. So the Hatter...
So he's totally sane.
He is sane.
Okay.
And the reason that the Hatter poses as the Mad Hatter is because he has a... I can't even believe... He has a private collection of hats from all nations, cultures, and historical periods that he must complete. So his entire thing is just stealing hats while dressed as the Mad Hatter. So he doesn't incorporate any of the Alice in Wonderland stuff into it, from what I can tell.
Right.
So it would seem like anyone who has any knowledge of the real Mad Hatter would be like, oh, okay, this guy is a fake. Like, he's clearly not the Mad Hatter, just with a mustache. He's not even doing the same things. He's just clearly going after these hats, which, like, what the hell, man? Just buy them like normal people.
Right.
So the Hatter, he loves hats.
My hats. So wait, he only collects hats from around the world, but he's totally sane, right?
He's totally sane, apparently. The only thing is he constructs weaponry based on hats, where the hats conceal flamethrowers and buzzsaws sometimes.
Sweet.
So that's the only thing where I was like, is that cool enough? And then I was like, wait, no, this guy is a fucking I don't think so.
Now, I'm sure he's a big fan of our episode from last January, Top 5 Hats. So, Hatter, check that out. Great app. Sweet app.
So, so the thing about this guy, Tyler, is that the hat that he wants the most is Batman's cowl. Which,
now it's getting interesting.
Yeah, you would think that would be interesting.
Not technically a hat, though.
So what he does is he sprays Batman's hat with like radioactive substance, or Batman's cowl, so he has to remove it. But then I think he's basically just like instantly captured, and nothing ever comes of it. So it's just another failed attempt at
he trips over the cowl as he tries to grab it and just knocks himself out.
And I guess he gets locked up in Arkham, even though he's not as dangerous by far as the real Mad Hatter.
He could have been kept like in a city jail.
Yeah,
it didn't need to. He didn't need to take any of the local taxes to house him in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, and I'm looking at an image of him, and he looks just like the guy, like the gatekeeper from The Wizard of Oz. So that's
the horse of another color. Come on in.
Yeah, basically. So just picture that
I like
guy.
him again.
Picture that guy, and you've got yourself the Hatter. So that's my number one.
That's awesome. I think Batman has a backup cowl. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's had to take off his cowl at some point. But he has a backup cowl, and I also think if you try to take off his cowl, there's some like knockout gas that pours from it.
Interesting.
I think there's like a booby trap.
Okay,
I think Dave could fact check that for us. The Hatter, not to be confused with the Mad Hatter. Ben, my number one is the worst. He's the worst, and probably the most mistreated Batman villain of all time.
Okay.
First appearing in World's Finest Comics, number 30 from 1947. I'm talking about the Penny Plunderer. The Penny Plunderer, Ben. You know that penny that shows up in the Batcave?
Yes.
That is originally one of the penny plunderer's devices, but known as Joe Coyne. That is Coyne, because these authors, they went the distance with this guy.
Coyne.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey, Phil.
What you got, Bob?
Yeah, why don't you come over here to my cubicle here in the bullpen here at Marvelous DC Comics, 1947, New York. I got an idea. I saw one of these walking up to work here on the sidewalk this morning.
Is that a penny, Bob?
Saw a penny. Saw a coin, my friend. I got an idea for a villain. The boss is busting our Uranuses
You
over
thinking
these
what
Batman
I'm thinking
villains.
with this penny thing?
I hit it right out of the park with
let me hear it.
Johnny Stitches. You just add a normal name to something that defines the villain.
Yes.
I'm talking Joe Coyne. That's not even his villain name.
That's as simple as it gets right there.
It's not even his villain name though. That's his man on the street name, Joe Coyne. That's what's on his bank statements and such.
All right, I mean, that sounds good. We got to change it to Coyne, though.
So it's like a Germanic name, like it's from European.
Perfect. Yep, love it.
But he goes by, wait for it, the Penny Plunderer, and he's obsessed.
So this guy only steals pennies, though?
He's obsessed with penny-oriented crimes. Penny-oriented crimes. He starts his career selling newspapers for pennies. Now that sounds like a normal job. That pretty legitimate, right?
Absolutely.
He's later caught stealing pennies, Phil, and he gets the electric chair.
Wow, that seems.
He gets the electric chair. That's the beginning and the end of the penny plunder.
You know what? I'm going to sign off on this right now. Let's go down to the bar.
All right, fancy. So yeah, the penny plunderer starts his career selling newspapers for pennies. His name is Joe Coyne, and he's later caught stealing pennies, which aren't worth the coin that they're printed on.
Wow.
And he gets not a small fine. He does not get, 2 hours in jail. He gets the electric chair.
That is insane.
It is the most egregious crime that this comic book author thought could occur. No, not even post-war America 1947. No crimes had been committed as terrible as stealing the American penny. So this guy got it.
I mean, unless he stole millions of dollars worth of pennies.
Impossible.
There's no way.
Impossible.
Wow.
I think we were still rationing at this point. There was no way there were millions of dollars worth. The entire circulation of pennies would have to be... First of all, you couldn't even if he went into like the U.S. Treasury and stole every penny they had, it wouldn't be worth anything because they hadn't like put it out into circulation yet.
Yeah.
So he would just be a guy with like metal. But I really love this guy. I think he's the worst villain probably in Batman's mythology as well as any mythology ever.
It sounds like
But he's also the most mistreated of the villains. Like, he stole pennies and got the electric chair.
Did not fit the crime, not even
Joker
close.
Shot Batgirl in the spine and disabled her.
And they keep him alive.
And he's still alive, yeah.
So did they actually execute him? Is he dead?
He gets the electric chair, I'm assuming, yeah. Like just Batman busts his hideout and just sees all these pennies. Is like, "You're terrible. Give him the electric chair, Commissioner." It's like, well, Batman, you know best.
Wow, man,
and then there's like that scene, like if Chris Nolan made like Batman 4 and the whole movie was built around the penny plunderer. Like there's that last scene where Christian Bale's Batman is like behind the glass of the electric chair room. Mm-hmm. And like the electricity is flashing off his cowl as the screams and then just like some words right before the credits, "Justice is done," and then credits roll.
And then Batman slams a penny up against the glass as he's watching it, flying in the chair just to rub it into his face. Oh,
I'll see you in hell. So yeah, great stuff.
Totally did not deserve that.
Thank you, Joe Coyne, for your contribution to this 5cast episode. Thank you, Planet Master. Thank you, the Hatter, not to be confused with the Mad Hatter.
Right.
Thank you, Johnny Stitches. Man, what a great app, guys. Ben, anything else to add before we close it up?
I mean, I feel for the writers, I think, at this point, because you know that, we make fun of them a lot as these Bob and Phil guys, but you know that there were real bosses who were like, all right, you sons of bitches, you're going to get fired if you don't give me somebody by the end of the week. And it's so clear to me years afterwards, and it must have been clear to them at the time, but they just didn't care, and they were desperate for stories, that's exactly what was happening. Like, they must have been under the gun, maybe literally, where they were just
I saw a coin, Joe coin, boom.
I mean, I can't fathom any other scenario where they would think that's acceptable storytelling.
My girlfriend's ugly American, boom.
It's like, what's his name from Conan?
Bill Tull.
Bill Tull, yeah.
I can't remember. He goes.
That's basically what it is. It's like, grab a coin, mash him up with the villain, boom. Penny plunderer.
I think I watched one where it was like a Cinco de Mayo, Bill Tull, and it was like bottle of X-Lax, boom, Montezuma's revenge. Well, you know what you don't have to pay pennies for, Ben? That's this podcast. It is free. Yes. It's on iTunes. You can subscribe and get us every week, this kind of entertaining stuff. Really no prep involved. I mean, we're as lazy as those comic book writers, Ben. So,
we are. But we're also not getting paid.
We're also not getting paid. Very good. Until next week, guys. Ben, take 5.
Take 5.